This is for educational use only, and our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardinis, to use this as an educational material. What comes to your mind when you hear the word sociology? Well, at the end of this topic, you should be able to first, recognize what sociology is and what it tells about understanding the self and others. Second, understand how individuals view the self as a product of socialization. Third, discuss the self as a product of modern society. And fourth, discuss the differences between the individual self and collective self. Sociologists are concerned with questions about the person in the community. Questions like, how does society influence you? How do you affect society? And who are you as a person in the community? Sociology is the study of human behavior. Sociology refers to social behavior, society, patterns of social relationship, social interactions, and culture that surrounds everyday life. Sociology delves into understanding how people behave in groups, exploring various aspects of social life such as relationships, interactions, and cultural influences. It provides insights into the dynamics that shapes societies and individuals within them, offering a broader perspective on the complexities of human behavior. The self is not present at birth. It develops only with social experience wherein language, gestures, and objects are used to communicate meaningfully. The sociological perspective of the self is based on the assumption that human behavior is influenced by group life. A particular view of oneself is formed through interactions with other people, groups, or social institutions. One of the pioneering contributors to sociological perspective was Charles Coley. He asserted that people's self-understanding is constructed, in part, by their perception of how others view them, a process termed the looking glass self. The looking glass self is a concept in social psychology that suggests people develop their sense of self based on how they believe others perceive and evaluate them. The looking glass self is a concept developed by an American sociologist, Charles Horton Coley, which states that individuals form their view of themselves based on how they believe they appear to others. Essentially, it suggests that to understand ourselves, we must first attempt to understand how other people see us and use this knowledge to shape our own identities. For example, appearing more confident in an interview due to the approving looks from the panel of interviews. In this example, an individual may think they performed poorly during the job interview, but upon receiving approving looks from the interviewers, they may gain a better opinion of their own performance.
The self as the product of modern society among other construction. Sociology posits that socially formed by belief and values comes to exist with a person to a degree where this becomes neutral and normal, thus developing a self-identity. The idea there is that in this era of modernization, the thing that greatly contributed in finding one's identity is the society itself, as the society itself tends to influence us on how we may perceive the entire world.
International arrivals. Modernization has significantly changed its society. This has affected how individuals build and develop his or her self-identity. A person in modern society is free to choose where to live, what to do, and to be with. People have the freedom to choose where they live based on their preferences and circumstances. And having freedom to select one's place of residence allows individuals to create environment. This freedom enables individuals to pursue their activities that resonate with their interests and build connections with those who contribute positively to their lives. Choosing to be with involves selecting companions, friends, or partners who align with their values and contribute positively to their lives.
Now, moving on to the next topic, which is the key characteristic of modernity. According to Giddens' 1992, the most patent major characteristics of modernity are industrialism, capitalism, institution of surveillance, and lastly, dynamism. First, the industrialism. It is the application of inanimate sources of power for productive techniques. The increase in production makes modernity quite substantial in its consequences. There is rise in urbanization, increase in slums, and infiltration of markets. Industrialism takes the form of Fordism and at a later stage post-Fordism. Next, capitalism. Capitalism is a system of production for a longer period of his life. Giddens followed Marxism and therefore he defines capitalism from Marxian point of view. Production relations are central to any understanding of capitalism. Giddens holds that Marx's analysis of mechanism of capitalist production and exchange and his analysis of class domination and exploitation retain their relevance today. However, Giddens finds some lacunae in Marx's thought. Marx does not pay any attention to power. Another is institution of surveillance. It is the massive increase of power and reach by institutions, especially in government. Lastly, the dynamism. It is the most evident characteristics of modern society. Dynamism is characterized as having vigorous activity in progress. Everything is subject to change.
Let's proceed to the next topic, individual versus collective self. So in individual self refers to the unique characteristics, beliefs, values, and experiences that define an individual. It encompasses one's personal identity, thoughts, emotions, and desire. In other words, the individual self is shaped by personal experiences, socialization, and internal processes such as self-reflection and self-perception. That's all for the individual self. For the examples, I will pass it to Cadet or Denisa.
So thank you, Cadet Riboyas. Now here are some examples to illustrate the individual self. First is the personal interest. Second, the personal values. And the last is the personal goals. So personal interest, an individual may have a passion for painting, playing an instrument, or writing poetry. These personal interests reflect their unique preferences and talents. The next example is the personal values. Each person may hold different values, such as honesty, compassion, or independence, based on their personal beliefs and experiences. The last is the personal goals. In personal goals, individuals may have specific goals they want to achieve, such as pursuing a career, traveling the world, or starting a family. These goals are driven by their individual aspirations and desires. Thank you.
So guys, we're gonna proceed about the collective self. The collective self, on the other hand, refers of the social identify and group memberships that individuals associate themselves with. It includes the roles, norms, values, and beliefs shared by a particular social group or community. The collective self is influenced by social interaction, cultural context, and social expectation. So, si Morok ay mag-explain.
Here's the example of collective self. Number 1, cultural identity. Number 2, social rules. Number 3, group memberships. So number 1, cultural identity. A person may identify with a particular culture or ethnicity, embracing its tradition, language, customs. They may feel sense of belonging and connection to their cultural group. So cultural identity, everyone, focuses on cultural ethnicity and traditions, language that may feel sense of our belonging to connection to our cultural group. So number 2, social rules. Individual plays various social rules such as being a student, a parent, or a member of a sports team. These roles define the responsibilities and expectations within a specific social context. So social rules is define a socialized, so you're like a member of sports team, student or parent, responsibilities expectation within a specific social context. So number 3, group memberships. People often identify with different groups such as religious community, sports clubs, or a political organization. These memberships provide a sense of community and shared values. So guys, group memberships is identify the sharing of community and values with different groups such as a religious community of the sports. So that's all.
So in summary, individual versus collective self, both dimensions contribute to our understanding of the self and play a crucial role in shaping our identities and behaviors. So that's the end of our report. Just remember that you were born to be real, not to be perfect. That's all. Thank you for watching and God bless everyone.